Sup nerds, I'm Tom.
I'm Wes.
Y'all been sleeping on this one. Seriously. This one is...
So Stonespine Architects is a drafting game where you are building your dungeon and you are drafting out the cards with which to build your dungeon. The things that make it really interesting, other than just being a drafting game, which is already interesting to me, is the fact that everyone is dealt out a dungeon map card that shows you where the entrance to your dungeon is, where the exit to your dungeon is going to be, and then ways to get points in building your dungeon. So the biggest thing you want to try to do, you don't even have to do it, is that you want to connect the doors.
Yeah, you have an entrance and an exit.
The tubes and the tunnels. You don't have to. You can, I think the last game we played, I just totally forgot to connect my entrance. But you score points. Basically, every card that's connected to your entrance scores a point, and every card that's connected to your exit scores a point. So if it connects to both, then it's 2 points per card, which is one of the big ways that you get points in the game.
But actually, there's a lot of ways you get points in this game. Almost a little too many. So we have the personal goal cards, right, that you get dealt at the beginning of the game. That both tells you where your entrance and exit is, and gives you 8 things that you want to be in specific spots. But there's also goal cards that you'll draft every round. Or not draft, purchase, kind of, because, well, there's a purchasing phase between every round. We're going to do 4 rounds, and in between each round of drafting, we are going to purchase tokens that come out on here that you can use to spruce up your dungeon, right? Help you hit your goal cards, or there are secret passageways to help things connect,
which are hella strong.
Super important. There should be way more of those in those tokens.
There should be, but also it's. I appreciate that I like there's not. For instance, because in the last game when I realized I forgot to connect my entrance, I probably was thinking I'll get a secret passageway, and then later on I'm like, oh no, I didn't get a secret passageway. I have to get one. And then everyone else at the table was like, well, make sure he doesn't get that.
Yeah.
So
I mean, it does create a good dynamic at the table, but I'm just saying overall, I'm surprised at how difficult it is to connect things.
Yeah.
Like there are a lot of cards that just have like one entrance, or just like an L, or like, you know, when you get a cross, you're like, oh, I got to take this one.
But because it's drafting, it's hard to get those good cards, because if there's just a great card,
unless it's in your open hand.
Yeah.
But also, actually, the purchasing phase of these tokens, the cards you draft also have money on them that get covered up by the next round. But you're going to be drafting those tokens, right? And then you're going to draft, or you're going to be purchasing the tokens. Then when you pass from the purchasing phase, you draft a endgame scoring card. So you're going to get 3 of those. And then your turn order priority, right, which happens in the purchasing phase as well, that'll be points at the end of the game. And then there is a goal card here for everybody. So I'm actually like, there's too many ways to get points. Oh, there's points on the cards sometimes too.
Yeah.
There's so many ways to get points that it's almost overwhelming. Like I'm looking, I'm like, that's 6 points. Is that good? I don't know.
Well, that's because you're an idiot.
I cannot sanction your buffoonery.
I don't think there's too many. I appreciate the kind of point salad of the game.
I don't think there's too many. I said almost. I said almost.
I will also say, though, that all of those points aren't just in front of you at once. Like,
True.
These gold cards, you get 3 of them, but you get 1 every round. So the first round, you just don't have one. Although you know what they're going to be, so you can kind of start keeping an eye on, like, ooh, I hope to get that one, so I'm going to put this here, hoping I get that one.
You really want to Venn diagram as much as you can.
Yeah,
right?
Absolutely. But they are building as you go, so it's not just overwhelming you at the get-go. And typically the cards that have points on them are also, like, not as good cards. So like this one's got 2 points on it, but it's also just a dead end.
And some of them have negative points on them, but hey, look, it's a cross.
Yeah.
Totally worth it.
I will say it is so satisfying if you play a game where your entire dungeon connects. Like it's a challenge, and you just feel like, oh.
Last game I almost got that. I got all but 1.
Yeah.
1 card didn't connect, and it was. But that is a really big chunk of. Like I said, there's a lot of ways to get points, and there totally are. But I feel like that's such a big chunk. You got to go for it.
If you mess that up, I don't.
It's not like you can't win, but you better have a lot of points, because you almost we like tied. Remember, and then there was that one because Scoring
It
cards.
was the
Let me
type-
ask you guys, okay, in a 3-player game, if it's whoever has the most of something, first most gets 15, second most gets 9 points, and third most gets 5 points, don't you think you should have at least one of that thing in order to qualify for third most?
I technically was
Right.
third most with 0. I'm pretty sure I checked BGG,
that
and
is-
they clarified that.
Point is, I was right. But yeah, you were still really close, even though you didn't connect a bunch, because you had a lot of other really good, like in the same way that you're like, oh, don't let him get that secret passage. It was like, let Wes get this
I think
card.
I had 2 different cards that both made my points worth an extra point.
Yeah,
so
the
every
point on the
star
cards.
on my board, in addition to being worth the number on it, was also worth an additional 2, which was that.
And when there was another one of those, when I think the second one of that card came out, we were like, hey, don't let Wes get it, right? But the way that this phase works is whoever has the most money spends money and buys tokens, right? And then
Until they're no longer the one with the most.
Yeah, when it came, I think me and Dave were both ahead of Wes, and we were both like, well, I'm going to buy this, and then I'm going to buy that. Okay, now it's Wes's turn. What are you going to buy? And he just went, I'm going to just pass. I'm not going to buy anything, and I'm just going to take this card. So it was our greed that let that happen. Okay.
But I do appreciate that the money in the game is not just like coins you get. That when you go to the auctioning phase, you basically count up the money that is shown on your tableau. You get that money, and at the end of the auction phase, you just go to 0.
Yeah.
And then at the next auction phase, you re-look at your tableau and see what your current money is. And that's the other thing, is that the cards with, like, the better cards have lower money.
That too.
So
yeah.
you could sacrifice, like, ooh, I don't really want this card, but it's got 7 coins on it, which is a ton.
And if you haven't noticed, there's a lot going on in this game. Like, it's not, like, mechanic heavy. It's, like, choice heavy.
Yeah.
Right? And I really like it. Like, This is a sleeper hit. And we just what did we talk about? Empire's End recently?
Yeah.
I don't know when these are going to come out. Maybe not recently to you, but to us, we just did it. Which is why I couldn't remember what it was.
Our shirts are different.
Yeah, but
because
don't
we
worry
just
about
changed.
that. Don't worry about that. That was another one that was like, this is great. Why isn't this everywhere? Like, and I'm just going to go on a rant. I do wonder that in general, like, do you ever listen to a band that's really similar to a very popular band, but this band isn't popular? And you're like, why?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But yeah, and I'm not even saying that this is similar to something else, right? It's just, but it's so good. It's drafting, but like tile placement kind of. This is like a tile placement. You know what? It's a lot like a game I love called Among the Stars that I did reviews for a couple of years ago. It's ancient by board gaming standards. Anything that came out 1 or 2 years ago is now an old game, but this is like 6, 7, 8, 10, 25 years old. I don't know. But like, yeah, it's drafting plus tile placement, and it's got so many other things. Like, this is a really solid game, and I think part of the reason why it's not super hot is the title.
I think the title and even just the box. Like,
somebody said when I brought this to Java Game House, someone I was playing with, like a friend of a friend, said, "Oh, that's an awful cover," and I was like, "What?" And then she said, "Oh, just like that anthropomorphic bull, that minotaur," and I was like, "Are you not sexually attracted to the Minotaur? Is that why you're upset?"
But yeah, I will say, Stonespine Architects,
You just said it wrong. You just said it wrong.
Stonespine, yeah.
That's the problem. That's why. That's gotta be it. You're looking at it and you said it wrong.
I keep telling everyone to go buy Stonespine Architects. So they're like, I can't find it. It must be sold out. I was like, a role-player tale. Like...
So, it's in the role-player universe.
Yeah, which I don't know anything about.
I thought you had it.
No,
you have Cartographers, sorry, which is also in that universe. And I get when you want to make things in your own universe, that's a branding choice. I get that.
That being said, don't let the name dissuade you. This game is choice.
Yeah, what you should do is, well, I was about to say copy and paste the title, but we have a link in the description. Right?
Absolutely.
You wouldn't need to do that. You can just buy it right now.
You should.
Why did I do that?
You know what's great with this game is having a game topper to play it on.
Yes, because then when you're drafting, you can put look at this. Now it's so easy for me to see all my choices. That's the card I want.
I hate you so much.
Seriously, this one is